The following talks were recorded in 1984 during a 9-day intensive. These rare recordings were recorded on a home video camera on extended play. We have done our best to sharpen the image and balance the color so that you can have the direct experience of Wester's message. In order to get the most from these tapes, please listen to them with your heart and leave your head aside. Enjoy.
Morning. I'll take you on the major roller coaster ride that we are on and have taken. It's interesting, your daily lives are roller coasting all the time. It might be that the archetypical thing was the original roller coaster ride, but we should know intellectually the whole complete picture, which when we do, I think it better helps us place ourselves, better helps us move in a direction of getting off the roller coaster. If you can imagine it, life should be straight line, not even that, a point, just never move, never act, never do, and that is the ultimate state. Yet if you have concocted a body or bodies, they go on without you doing a thing. Your body moves, the world moves, and you do not do a thing. You just sit back and watch it all. So this concept of being still, being a point, or better than that, being every point without moving, does not take away from you your dear, dear world that you hold on to for life, which is your nemesis. So, I know some of you have seen this before, probably more than once. But if there's anything I do, it's say the same thing over and 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 over again. And I wonder, why don't you hear me? Or if you do, why don't you just do it? And the doing is really undoing of the doing, so you can remain still and just be and be and be and be. Does that remind you of a song? If I could be and be and be and be, if I could be. The musicians need to change the lyrics a bit. But what I'm really doing, I see, is introducing mantra. If any of you, anyone here do mantra or have done mantra? Okay, I'll give you some. If I could be and be and be and be. I ain't got no body. I'm misbehaving all by myself. That's it. There's a lot more. There's a lot more. But the whole concept of mantra is to get your mind in the direction and try to quiet it by holding it on that one direction so that the other directions would drop away. It'd be wonderful if they would. But mantra is good if you have a very noisy mind, to get it quiet. I gave Marilyn Rodak a good one. didn't I?
Which one?
I am I.
I am
No, I gotta be.
You gotta be free.
I gotta be free, or I
Can
gotta be
change the
me.
song. Change the song from I've got to be me to I've got to be free.
Oh, I gotta be free. I gotta be free. You could also.
Gave me I am
I gotta be me. Don't know how that would fit for you. But the one I like best, I just heard, I am I am I am I. Yeah, try it.
The last part.
Get in the habit of just singing to yourself, I am I. Not the last part.
How do you spell I?
So one. I am I am I. That's I.
The Yiddish eye.
So this roller coaster that we decided to take a ride on, we start off in being only beingness, if you can imagine what that's like, and you cannot. The mind cannot see beyond the mind. Mind is a come down from beingness. So when you try to imagine it, it's impossible. But how many of you have experienced just being your beingness? I'd like to see a show of hands. That's almost all of us. There isn't a moment when you're not. There isn't a moment when you're not experiencing your beingness. And this is what you're looking for. In your every act in life, you're looking for your beingness. And what is it? You call it yourself, or make it with a capital S. When I am just myself only, I am my beingness. And you can't help but be yourself. You cannot help but be your beingness. So what do? We take a sleigh ride, or a coaster ride. At this nice, even, perfect, wonderful spot, we start moving out, and we take a real downward ride. Go to a bottom. And then ride back again. In this all perfect state of beingness, in order to get into difficulty, we create what we call our mind. So right at the beginning here, we set up a mind. It's only an instrument to separate. Only an instrument to create differences, parts primarily, after which the more parts we create, the more it hurts. So after we create this mind, we do everything to get back to the beingness with the mind. But the mind cannot do it because it's lower than beingness. But what the mind can do is direct you toward letting go of the mind so that you can just only be. But once we start out, that's not enough. We set up a body. The first body is a causal body. It's a delightful body because there, every concept, every idea we have is instantaneously fulfilled. Every concept is instantaneously fulfilled. And there's not too much motivation to get out of that causal body. And yet it's relatively easy to do it, to go back up. But what we do is we make a denser body, called astral. And here's where we really hang ourselves. I'm putting the neck right around that line. When we get down to the physical. In the realm of time, this was started eons ago. In the realm of time, we've been hundreds of millions of years into the physical. This is how stubborn we are. And theoretically, anytime anyone should choose, that one can go zip right back up to the top. But as you've noticed, you get so caught up in your toys, in your externals, you just don't want to let go. And so we develop all these externals more and more and more. And the more we develop, the heavier we feel. The slower we get, the slower we move. Until you hit bottom, the state we are in, the physical. It's the slowest, densest state possible unto beings everywhere in the universe. We cannot go slower, lower, denser than we are right now. So that's a great place to be. We're halfway through, and we're actually those of us using the method are beginning to move up and out of the physical. We've chosen a time to come in when the incentives to get out of the physical are going to be the greatest. And that's great. Because it's when all the props are knocked out, all the external props are knocked out, that we say, enough. And we go back home. Home is up there. So you've chosen a wonderful time. You couldn't have chosen a better time to come into the physical realm. Because unconsciously, we set it up, originally consciously, so that we will not be forever caught up in this heaviness, in this misery, in this limitation. And when we set it up, we could see ahead of time that you get so blinded you don't know where you're going. And so we set up the automatic protective stops. That's the physical, set up so that the physical can't work anymore. Then we have to go back up. There's only one way to go. Up, when all the props are out. I don't know whether to mention it or not, but I will. The leader of what's considered one of the most spiritual countries in the world died this morning.
Gandhi was
Gandhi?
assassinated, yeah.
Yeah, Indira.
Incredible.
What?
She was assassinated.
Yeah. By whom? 2 of her guards. They were Sikhs.
Oh, God.
2 of her personal guards who were Sikhs.
What's the?
That kind of religion.
It's a big group in India that kind of stepped aside from Hinduism and are seeking their way. But it's not spelled S-E-E-K, it's S-I-K-H. They're a big group there, and they're trying to separate their part of the land from India. So there was a battle going on. But the irony of it, who did it? Her closest personal guard. What I'm saying to you, there are no safeties in this world, and what are you doing every day? You're trying to make it safe. Even if you get to be the head of one of the most spiritual and one of the largest countries, you still can't be safe. Until you identify with your beingness. And when you do, you will have the absolute safety there is. You're untouchable, immortal, whole perfect. So try not to hold on to this physical carcass with the intensity that you do. Start looking towards moving up. You'll move back into the astral. When you get up there, it's different from here. Here you're looking in a downward direction all the time. Here, you keep your direction up. And when you do it enough, you get to be a Christ, a Buddha, back in the causal. That's where they are. And where they are is such a thin line from just beingness only. Should they choose to go over the line, they can do it. But they get caught up in wanting to help the world, so that the ones who start helping seem to hang around for thousands and thousands of years. But they do it in a very comfortable body, the causal body. So, be caused.
Of course.
And what about you, Lester? Are you in the causal?
Mm-mm. If I were in the causal, I wouldn't be talking to you. When I say you, I mean the world. I sat in it for years. And then came out to do my duty to God and my country, obey all the laws, and do good.
In other words, you were drafted.
But I volunteered for it. You have to volunteer originally.
Causal voice.
Being prepared.
But once you sit in that quiet state, it never leaves you. And it's extremely difficult to stay with the noise. I still have to use radio, news, read the newspapers, know what's going on in the world and so forth, because if I don't, I just automatically float up And if you would ask me questions, I'd look at you and just smile. Because there are really no answers to the questions you're asking. You're asking me, well, why shouldn't we be limited the way we are? Why shouldn't we have all these troubles? Why shouldn't we have this heavy body? Why shouldn't we suffer? Why shouldn't we? That's the way every question that you put to me sounds like. And in the early days, that was the way I used to ask questions, answer questions. I wasn't even aware of it until an awfully sweet girl who worked with her husband at the Valley Verde School said to me, "Oh, Lester, you're so rude." I said, "Am I?" She said, "You certainly are." And I didn't know why, and so I had to ask her, why? She said, "I just asked you a question a few minutes ago, and you looked at me and smiled. You didn't even answer me. Then I asked you a second question. You did the same thing. Then I asked you a third question. You did the same thing. That is rude." And I said, "Gee, she's right, but I still don't think it's rude." I said, "Could we ask them over again?" She didn't want to. But I did try to answer her questions more so, and then I came back. This happened in Phoenix in a restaurant. I came back to Sedona. I asked closer ones, "When you ask me questions sometimes, do I just look at you and smile?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Why didn't you say something about it?" This was Reverend Lindsay. He says, "Oh, I understand." And another fellow told me the same thing. It was only then that I realized I was not answering the great majority of questions, but I was answering, see, from where I was coming from, with a smile. That smile is so worth that perfect being. Of course, when you project that to the other person, it tends to lift them. But of course, I couldn't lift them high enough to agree with me. And so they wanted an answer down in the pit. So I had to learn how to talk pit language again.
That's good.
And
So this is all pit talk, huh?
Is that when you moved to New York, Lester?
what?
Is that when you moved to New York?
Oh no. That was back in the early 60s. I began, I think it was really 68, I began watching TV. Hour in, hour out, one program after another, until I could get my first feeling. And when I got the first feeling, I got a little tear in the corner of my eye. I just jumped up and I applauded. But it took me until 1968 before I could do that, from 52 to 68. Now back in 52 I knew I would be doing what I'm doing. I had the whole picture. When you're there, there's no time. You can see back a million years, forward a million years, or tomorrow. But I saw the picture and I knew I needed to come back, and it took me 18 years to get into the realm of thinking this, whereas it took me 3 months to get out of it. See, this is beingness, this is thinkingness. This is more of doing this. You're quite active there. And incidentally, when you dream and you see your body, that is your astral body. And that astral body is the matrix for the physical body. So it looks exactly like it.
Matrix means what?
Matrix,
Center?
mater, mother.
Like a blue.
It's the mother of this body, it forms this body. And down here we think we have to have in order to be. We start gathering the infinite universe back together by trying to own one plot, then more and more and more. And then when we think we have the world like some of our leaders do, they want to take in the moon. And this week NASA was talking about Mars. They think the Russians will probably get there before us. If you get Mars, then you want the whole solar system. After that, you want the rest of it, when you're in the realm of happiness. So when you're in happiness and you start to do, it moves you up towards the astral. Now there's a difference between here and here. When we're up in that top state, we're up there in sort of a passive way. And when we run the gamut of all this, we come back to it in a positive way. I think the best way I can explain that is like sickness. If you're born healthy and you're healthy all your life, do you appreciate sickness, health?
Take it for granted.
You like it, it's nice, but you're not aware of the value of the health. However, when you're sick for a decade or two or three, and then you become healthy, you will always appreciate the state of health. That's a positive knowing of what is health. Whereas if you're born healthy and remain healthy all the time, it's a passive knowing of what the state of health is. So when we run the gamut, we go out no more. Because why live in a hell? And that's the state we're in here. The most limited, the most hellish state beings can ever get themselves into. Because we're down here, we have a tremendous advantage. When you're in hell, the advantage is the incentive to get out of it.